What's happening, trips? And welcome back to the With Mates podcast. My name is Andrew Grayson, your host as ever, and we are back in this marvelous world of Daredevil Born Again. Yes, we were missing last week. I'm going to take blame for that. Apologies. We are super busy, but we are here this week to talk about two episodes of Daredevil Born Again, episode 7 and episode 8. Probably going to focus more on episode 8 because it was better, and episode 7 was about a week ago. And joining me on this is my three main men. He is the Iceman, Baby Boone, Joseph Boone.
Greetings, Andrew. I'm here, the Iceman. It's me, Baby Boone.
He's the triple barrel man. He is Craig Andrew Mooney.
Hello, Andrew. How's it going?
Aye, not too bad. And he is the smackiest of smacks. It's Paul Sturrett.
Paul Sturrett? Who the hell is that?
Polly Smack. Paul.
Oh, right. Oh, my goodness. Oh, yes. Polly Smack. Yes, that is me. And you know what? The dark forces have been conspiring to keep me off of this stream. The bastards known as OneStream, a broadband company that is
Paul speaks for himself. He does not speak for the With Me podcast at this moment in time.
They have held my phone hostage, my number. They have screwed my broadband, and you know what? OneStream, go fuck yourself.
Oh, he's hit the F-bomb early. If we were on YouTube, that demonetised.
Demonetised immediately.
Yes, so we are here.
Craig Andrew Mooney, head in hands.
Sponsorship for, what did you call it? Mate, that's the most, 1-2-1, back in the day, fucking sounding. And get on fibre, get on Virgin Media, or whatever it is that you get it. Yeah, dial up Dan in the corner. At least we know why your signal's been dodgy all these times. So yes, we're here to talk about
better deal.
Much better deal. That's what I like to hear.
Fucking hell.
We're here to talk about Daredevil Born Again. We're just going to get straight into it, lads, because we all know we're doing well. We can catch up properly once we're all home in situ and whatnot. So the way the podcast works is we will give our non-spoiler thoughts first, then we will give you a big old spoiler warning and get into the nitty-gritty spoiler details of each of the episodes. So I'm going to start with a warning. This isn't a spoiler warning. This is a warning for Joseph Boone.
Okay, hi.
Don't fuck me off, okay? That's all I'm going to say. Who would like to go first? Oh, right, cool. I'll choose. Paul, what did you think of episode 7 and episode 8? Non-spoiler thoughts.
Non-spoiler thoughts. Episode 7. I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. You know, we had that great setup in episode 6 with that amazing fight with Muse, and it was followed up. And the thing that I think might come through about this episode is that we're not remembering a great deal about episode 7, which is a problem. Now, I know there was the therapy session, which I'm not going to say any more about, and there is a fight, but that's about the main thing that I properly remember. I'm sure there'll be more that will come to mind, but yeah, not the best episode, but I think it's even more highlighted, contrasted by maybe the lack of excitement in 7, because I think episode 8 is my favourite. Very possibly my favourite episode so far. I loved 8. 8's got a lot going for it, a lot of excitement, a return of certain somebody, and yeah. No, I was there for 8. It was like a tension build all the way through, and it just marvellously pops at the end, sort of.
Lovely. So I'm going to come next, because normally I go through you three guys, but I want to come in here. So very same as Paul. Episode 7. I can remember when I watched episode 7, I went, that was good. It was fine. It was a good episode. It's probably 6, maybe a 7 out of 10. From what I remember. The thing that, now that I've seen episode 8, that makes me think about both of these episodes is, you can clearly tell that episode 7 was the last of the original stuff, and episode 8 is back to the new writers and the new directors for the people that have come in to take over. for Daredevil. So this one is episode 8 is very stylized in the same way as episode 1 was, whereas episode 7, I feel like stuff happens in episode 7 where I feel like that seems quite rushed. But I think they've kind of turned it because it's now. So this was supposed to be 18 episodes in one series. They're now doing it as 2 9s, and they've changed some stuff. So I'm assuming they've now went right. We're going to go in a different direction. And to be honest, the direction they're going in, I fucking love. How they made this episode, the cinematography of episode 8 is stunning. The character choices stunning. Charlie Cox's acting amazing. The choices that they are making now going forward, again, it's the same people that are doing episode 9, the finale. This is up there with the Netflix series. This is as good as the Netflix series. And there are, as I say, peaks and troughs. But if you take into consideration that this was rewritten halfway through, like, we shouldn't be getting 9s and 10s out of 10s. This is a 10 out of 10 episode for me. And I've not had the chance to watch New Rockstars break it down. But even the stuff that I've seen and the stuff that I've seen on Twitter, it's the comparisons and the mirrors and the way they use like music and the way they use lighting and stuff. It's fantastic. Episode 7 is good. I'll get more into the stuff that I was like, yeah, that kind of feels rushed when we get into spoilers. But episode 8, one of the best. Let's go to Craig Andrew.
I really can't add much because I totally agree with both Andrew and Paul on both counts. I would say episode 7 I was thoroughly underwhelmed by, and I think Andrew's right. I think the pacing was the issue. It may possibly was rushed because they needed to potentially get to the new setup of the season, the new writers, whatever it may be, and I think maybe that hampered what we had, that kind of arc that episode 7 kind of leads to, which we'll get into when we talk about spoilers. But as to echo Andrew, I think, and Paul, I think episode 8 is one of the best episodes of the season. I think episode 6 still beats it for me. I think if episode 6 is a 10, this is a 9.5. But saying that, thinking off the top of my head, can I fault episode 8? I'm not really sure I can. I loved it. I loved the style choices, as we've said as well. I'm looking forward to talking about the feelings that it evoked of other things that I have seen in the past, which I'm trying to dance around saying just now. But yes, I echo the boys so far. Very, very much a big fan of episode 8.
Okay, deep breath time.
We all hold our breath.
It's so weird.
Normally we subject Paul to this, but for whatever reason, Boone has taken this chair up for this series. Joseph, episode 7, episode 8. What did we think?
Craig, you're wrong. Episode 8 is better than episode 6.
Nah.
Craig, you're wrong. Episode 7.
I don't feel as if that's like a nah moment, to be fair. Like, I don't think that's a nah. Like,
episode 8 was a very good episode. Episode 7, I couldn't care for episode 7. I can't tell you what happened in it. I watched it, went, okay. Immediately watched episode 8 as a palate cleanser. I don't think that it is as sensational as you are saying, Craig. But hey, but
not just me.
Well, Craig, your block capital texts are a bit over the top. Quite frankly,
as always.
I will agree. Charlie Cox is definitely the best actor right now in the MCU. The bar was not high.
Agreed.
But wait, no. We literally just had a fucking Oscar nominee.
Who did?
Black Panther, I forget her name, Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett literally just got fucking nominated for an Oscar.
Let me reiterate. I think the best performance in the MCU, Charlie Cox, is what he's doing right now. With the things that are coming out right now, I'm not sure there's anything better.
But you can't say the bar. You can't say the bar was low. We've literally just had a fucking Oscar-nominated performance.
Was it a Marvel role though?
Yes.
Was it
for Black Panther?
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Shows how much attention I've been paying.
The first one or the second one?
The second one, which she was deserved of, and probably should have won. To be honest.
To be fair, I didn't actually see Black Panther 2, I thought it was quite boring. I tried to watch like the start of it and I was like, fucking hell, come on, boys. Yeah, like episode 8, very good episode. I enjoyed what they did. A little bit bored that now we're getting to another point where another person knows that certain things about certain characters. I'm just like, yeah, it's starting to feel that that the training wheels are coming off of the series. With all the old writing being gone.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And again, the one thing I will say just before we go into spoilers, I get what you're saying about it's like, oh, somebody else knows, but we're now in the MCU where the only person who really has a secret identity is Spider-Man. Everybody else has known who they are, what the superheroes are. That's kind of what this kind of sets up. I mean, so I don't entirely have an issue with that.
Daredevil is still very much a secret.
Yeah, but what I mean is if everybody,
I know.
Yeah, if everybody ends up knowing who he is, I'm going, that's not really a big, like, we know who Iron Man is, we know who Captain America is, we know who these people are. The only one now we don't know is because of the spell of Spider-Man and stuff. But I do get what you mean. It's like, I tell you, if we look at it from the Netflix thing, it's
the one thing I do really like about the show, genuinely, and this is not me taking the piss, I really like what Michael Gandolfini's doing. I really like that character, and I really like his performance.
You know what? Same. Actually, I it's not lost on me. It's like I find it so.
See, the difference is
such a nice. Yeah. It's a nice feeling.
It's really
James
nice.
Gandolfini's son is playing like this role involved with organized crime, like with the Kingpin, and I'm like, Dad, both, Paul, his dad would be so proud.
Paul, we both know it's not organized crime. We know it's a business, don't we?
Hey, member. This is a business.
Oh, he was more of a list today.
Do you know the thing that is I'm not even disagreeing with you about his performance. I'm going, but that's what you're taking from this series. It's not anything else. It's not the cinematography. It's not Charlie Cox. It's not Vincent D'Onofrio. It's this guy.
As I said in a previous episode, I think the cinematography is quite stunning. Their use of light, their use of sound. I think Charlie Cox and both Vincent D'Onofrio, they're doing a fantastic job. It's great. It's great.
Just Gandolfini for you.
But for me, it's Gandolfini. He's like, the tier list is Vincent D'Onofrio, Charlie Cox, Michael Gandolfini, right at the top there.
Right at the top. Right, we're going to give you a spoiler warning now. So now we are in full spoilers. If you have not watched episode 7, episode 8 of Daredevil, now's the time to pause the podcast, head on over to Disney Plus or wherever you watch your shows, and then come on back to hear all the nitty-gritty details of what we thought of each of the episodes. So, as I said, we're probably going to focus more on episode 8, but we will kind of recap on the main things that they did in episode 7. And again, there wasn't a lot. It was more kind of the political moves of Fisk, and obviously we get the end of Muse. So to me, I feel as if I'm in two minds of it, right? I feel as if it's a waste because I think Muse is such an interesting character, and I love the character design, and I would love to have seen more. Now, again, we did see him die, so to me, it does make me think he's dead, which is a shame. But
he was shot in the head. It's pretty much.
Was he not shot in the chest?
There, right?
Was he shot in the head?
I thought it was the head.
No, he was shot multiple times in the chest.
Either way,
yeah.
If he's dead, he's dead.
Oh, you know what? You know what? I'm thinking of someone else. Never mind. Never mind.
But yeah, so like to me, my only thing is, look, I'm disappointed because I quite like that character and I like the design and I like the outlook of what that character could have been. However, the fact that they've changed the writers and they seem to be going in a different direction, and I really, really like the direction they have chosen to go, I don't have as much of an issue with that. It's interesting. I'm interested now. I wasn't really, but I'm interested now the dynamic between Matt and his girlfriend, because she's obviously, again, this is more kind of leading from what happens in 7 into 8, where they're like, oh, Daredevil and Muse were the exact same. He's like, well, Muse tried to kill you, Daredevil saved you, and she's like, no, I saved myself. So that dynamic kind of interests me, and that's kind of the most that I took from episode 7.
Did you feel that his girlfriend took a bit of a heel turn in this episode, Andrew?
she didn't go full John Cena, but she's teetering. She's sniffing that NWO jersey. She's not quite put it on yet.
Do you know what I'd quite like? I'd quite like it if, like maybe in the last episode, they just sort of subtly replace her with J.K. Simmons, and like Charlie Cox just turns around and is like, "So, like, what do you think about Daredevil?" It's like, "He's a menace. He's a menace.
Get him out of
He needs to
here.
be stopped."
I
See the lady up front.
But
I think one of the like it now, because I didn't know this was like the last bit of the old writing.
Yeah.
For episode 7, it felt like episode 7's Daredevil, Matt Murdock, and Kingpin. They were two different characters to what they were in episode 8. If that makes just like some of the dialogue and stuff.
So I personally feel, and I could be wrong about this, and I would be so interested if anybody knows that's listening, please, excuse me, messages on one of the social medias that you follow us along on. I feel like this could be like proper chop edited together, because Muse dying this early, especially if it was going to be 18 episodes, I would assume that Muse was going to be the villain throughout. So to me, I was kind of shocked, because if you look at it, episode 1, we're full spoilers now, episode 1 had Bullseye and episode 8 had Bullseye. I don't think Bullseye was going to be in this series. I think episode 8 have went, no, we want to do it with this character. So I've got a feeling, and it'd be so interesting to find out, I think Muse might have had more to do in the original series.
Yeah, and they've kind of
than what they've done just now. And I think like that's why you see the dynamic change between who these characters are and stuff like that. I still feel as if the stuff at the end with Fisk, where the tracksuit mafia comes in to kill him, and he just sits there eating his dinner, and he's got his guy, like, that was great. Like, that's who I think Fisk is here. Well, that's what they're called, the Tracksuit Mafia. That's the name of the group. But what about you, Craig? Is there anything that happened really in episode 7 that kind of stood out for you, or anything that you were like, oh yeah, I really like that, before we move on and gush about episode 8?
I'm looking forward to gush about episode 8. Yeah, I think, as I said, we kind of said already, you're all kind of right in terms of, I just feel like this was let's get this out the way so we can get on to what we want to talk about. Which essentially was maybe getting Bullseye back in. I think you're absolutely right, Andrew. I think probably that was the case, that Muse had a bigger arc to play in this original concept, and they just kind of wanted to finish this off in what was a very, very rushed way compared to like what they were setting up for the rest of the season, if you know what I mean. So like, I feel like he was being set up for more just based on the pacing that had already happened, and this felt like a bang bang done, that's you. And I don't think Hunter Doon was given enough to kind of really put his stamp on it. I feel like we need a bit more of him. It felt like he was only given one episode to kind of really show who Muse was. And not even that, we're talking like maybe like 10, 15 minutes of screen time. Because we hadn't really ever seen... Like, because we hadn't actually seen like a therapy session before that, had we? We just had seen him go into the bookstore. Is that right?
Yeah, we'd only seen him in the bookstore.
No,
as him, as opposed to
we seen him
Muse.
at the start. We seen him at the start of this episode. Yeah, the start of episode 7. There's a session where.
Oh no, I mean in a previous episode.
Oh, like previous, yeah. I don't think so.
Because that's what I think I just would have liked a little bit more, rather than having to like throw everything into essentially one scene, and kind of just. It felt like they were horn shoeing? Yeah.
Shoehorning.
The shoehorning, that's it. Shoehorning. Horn shoeing. So shoehorning, like his arc with Kingpin and Daredevil's arc, which I think was the original intention, but because it was so rushed, it felt wrong, and it was ham-fisted, you know what I mean? So that was the issue, I think, whereas if you were to do it again, I think they would have probably just got rid of the Muse character and focused on probably something else, or Bullseye, because it just kind of muddied the water between Daredevil and Kingpin that was so good about, for example, episode 6, where you had the dichotomy between the two, which is what I really liked. But yeah, nothing really stood out for me in episode 7. This is where I disagree with you all. I think I really don't like his girlfriend, the therapist character. I fucking hate her.
I don't think the character doesn't really
like it.
Yeah,
it doesn't fit.
But again, I feel as if
8, she's properly taken in episode 8. I think she's properly taken a heel turn. She's been all right. I've liked her as Fisk's therapist but not so
But
much. Like
but again,
I don't care
I feel
that,
as if
anyway.
this might be a character though that we're like, yeah, not anymore, because she kind of almost gets not shuffled out the way in episode 8 by the end of episode 8, but she's obviously kind of on the side of Fisk.
we
The one
we
thing I would
all
like
know.
to say before we get to 8 though is the choreography of the fight, and again, is some of the most brutal that we've seen in the MCU.
Mhm.
There is a point where I've just rewatched it there just now. There's fighting. There's a bit where he sends his
that was
grapple
good.
hook
That was
through
very
Muse
good.
and pulls him back, and then he pulls him across the mat, and again, it's reminiscent of the painting that Fisk has and stuff like that. So again, throughout the whole of this, the fight choreography, whether it was the old or the new, has been fantastic and has been brutal and stuff like that.
I think
And
he
the
was
other
using actually like the martial art that he was saying he was trained in as well, which as opposed to just like doing generic punch, generic kick. What was it? Was it Taekwondo? Yeah, which is like get your opponent to the floor. Which I believe that's the one.
Yeah.
And he was just trying to get Daredevil down to the ground. I thought it was the really good fight choreography in that one. But during the fight, I realized why I don't like Muse. And it's nothing to do with the character. It's more of what he reminds me of. He reminds me of a little known character in an old Fox film played by a one Ryan Reynolds. He reminds me of Weapon X, like what they did with that in the X-Men, like same sort of.
I can see
look.
that.
I can
Yeah.
see that. Yeah.
And that's all I can see when I'm watching those scenes. I'm like, oh man.
For me, the other thing that they introduced in episode 7 as well that I'd love to get your take on is the idea of the vigilante squad hunting down. So they obviously set it up where they went to kind of capture Muse. They were too late. Daredevil stopped it. They walked in, but then Fisk gives them the credit. So I feel as if that sets it up, because again, if you've seen set photos, and if you've not seen set photos, fast forward 10 seconds, and if you boys don't want to hang with la me, we know somebody's coming back next week that we've already seen in this series. I won't say his name, but I know you're all thinking, who is that? Who is that? That's who it is. He's coming back.
Spider-Man.
That's who it is, kids. Kids.
Spider-Man's coming
sorry, I
back.
forgot.
Spider-Man
Tom Holland.
played by John Bernthal.
Yeah. But yeah, so like, I like that kind of setup. But again, to me, my big kind of, not sigh of relief, because again, I don't think any of the episodes of the previous written have been bad. And the fact that they've been able to kind of like chop and change and amalgamate both of these series together to give us a coherent story, I've been so impressed. I've been so impressed with this series.
The most impressive thing story-wise has been the integration of the Vanessa part, because obviously that was that to make that work in episode 8 and to make her part of that bullseye part of the story. That was probably the trickiest thing to do story-wise that they managed to do, which I think they've had some success with, I would say.
It's actually kind of reminded me a little bit of how how at the time when Rogue One came out, and then it was like, oh, it's going through all these rewrites and reshoots and everything. Well, the Vader hallway scene is a reshoot. That wasn't in the film originally, and that's easily the most memorable thing of Rogue One.
Fucking love that.
So I think it's Daredevil Born Again is kind of the Vader Hall scene of series, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
With the way it's been reworked and everything.
So, enough about episode 7. Let's talk about episode 8. I want to start things off with just talking about the shooting of it, the cinematography, the use of the aspect ratio. I've never seen this done as often and as so well. The zoom ins, the zoom outs, it's stunning. I don't know why, but I really love it. It makes it feel so much more intimate and intense. And these guys, the directors, are absolutely phenomenal at doing it. They did episode 1. They're doing episode 9. The use of colour contrast. We got to see how Bullseye sees through it's like a blue kind of lens that kind of helps him focus on his targets, which juxtas Daredevil in red, and it was such a beautiful episode of television, and that's not even taking into consideration like performances and like this plot and stuff like that. But I just wanted to give a big shout out. Like the guys that shot this know how to shoot cinema. It is stunning. And the second I hear that these guys are doing a movie, because it's gonna happen now, because of how good they've done this, I cannot wait. I loved it. I loved how gorgeous this episode was.
Oh, completely agree. It was, if this had been the opening episode to this series, holy shit, it would have been blown away.
Oh, yeah.
This. It genuinely felt like an opening episode to me. Maybe not of like a first season of a show, but this is definitely feels like would be opening of second, picking up after everything's fallen apart.
Fair point.
It very much felt like a the kid gloves are now off. The episode hit after hit after hit, and genuinely I had a lot of fun watching this episode. In terms of the cinematography, one of the best shots is at the ball, when it's almost like the camera's not following the different people through their different conversations, but it's where it's like focusing on like, I thought that was utterly gorgeous. I thought it was bold. I thought it was completely different to anything we've seen shot in the MCU before, and it actually made me forget what I was watching, and it tricked me into enjoying it slightly, because obviously
the program tricked you.
Enjoy it.
I totally agree, and I also think I really liked the sort of choices a lot of characters made in this episode. In particular, because my favorite one was, okay, they're in the same place. He knows at least to some degree what his powers is, and Kingpin, when they're on the dance floor, starts talking where no one else is going to hear him, but he knows.
That was
he
cool.
knows Matt can hear it, and I really like that little detail.
Like,
very good detail.
It was so good. This episode was like a rising sort of tension for me throughout the whole one, and I really like episodes like that. And I thought it was actually overall a really good story, because I felt throughout the episode Matt is compromising his morals quite a bit. I mean, he knows he's kind of freed Bullseye, like when he bashes his head, and he knows he's going to get out. And he has to know to some degree that Bullseye is going to kill people to get out. He has to, on some level, know that. But then right at the end of the episode, he takes the bullet for...
He does the right thing.
But you say he does the right thing. This is what he says. He's like, you protect the people that are going to hurt you the most. And I'm like, they've literally just done that. So I'm going to take a point that Paul used. I'm going to put it to you, Craig. So I want to get your answer, and then obviously I want to get the answers of Joseph and Paul, right? In terms of... Because you guys weren't so sure about killing Foggy and getting rid of Karen. I think the further we get into this, it had to be done. His struggle with mental health and who he is as a person, it's some of the best character development I have seen in a series. Even kind of picking up from a previous series on a different network, for them to then take over and go, right, this is where he is, and we're now doing that. This is his morality, and we're going to get rid of that and see how he develops. And I thought the side characters, the cop guy, again, I really need to look this up, because every time we fucking talk about it, I just say the cop guy. He's fantastic, and I apologise profusely for not knowing his name, but him kind of coming in and going, no, you can't do this, and he walks out. I quite liked the relationship stuff between him and his girlfriend in this episode. I was like, right, you're interesting now, like, because you're kind of siding with Fisk. But even the stuff as well, like, I'm interested in BB. Who the fuck cares about BB? But this episode made me care about BB. Yeah. She's like a
this
double
episode made you care
using...
about so many characters.
Mate, it's so good. This episode is brilliant. But the question I want to put to Craig, because as a writer, in terms of the character development, like, is this the best you've seen in terms of what they're doing with Matt and how he's struggling mentally and with the choices that he has to make?
Well, this is quite a unique situation, actually, that not many shows I think I've ever been in, because there's very few shows that have kind of continued off the back of a cancellation. Some shows have been revived, some shows have been brought back, but it's usually in a case of like a revival for like a one-off or a limited series or something like that. Whereas this is like a continuation of something that, as you say, was not on the same network, which is very unique. And I think the writers have done an admirable job of it because, as you say, Andrew, it links to what happened in the past. It carries it forward, but also it's giving us something new to follow, which in any show, if you were to say this is season 4 of Daredevil, we're getting something new still. We're getting something exciting to watch and follow with this character. And I think, as I say, commend the new people involved in the show that they've managed to do that and make things as fresh as possible. But you've got to also, from a acting standpoint, as I've kind of said already, as people have alluded to, I think Charlie Cox is the best actor in the MCU by a country mile. He is so talented, and what he's been given a gift with this character because it is very well written. It's got a lot going for it. There's a lot to get your teeth into, and he does it so well, and just makes this by this point, because we've had so long with this character overall, it's the most fleshed out MCU character, I think, in terms of like an actual person that you can latch on to. I think that is a big positive of the show, and it's not just him. As you say, Wilson Fisk is the same. He's very fleshed out. He feels real. He feels in the world and lived in. But that's again a testament to Vincent D'Onofrio. But again, every character in this episode you did care about. As I said, BB.
In Vanessa after this as well.
Vanessa, you gave more to Vanessa. The thing as well I wanted to kind of bring up about this episode in particular is how it made me feel. Yeah. And in a bizarre way, I don't know how you guys felt. I got a kind of weird kind of like deja vu with like kind of like a Batman kind of, you know those like balls that happen in like a Batman movie. I just for some reason got that kind of like feeling of that, and like at any moment Batman was gonna come swooping in, or a villain was gonna pop in. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. It was that kind of vibe, and I just really enjoyed it. It just like gave me that, evoked that. Even like the old Tim Burton ones, I had that in my head at one point. I don't know why, but I had that. But yeah, to answer your question, it's an incredibly hard thing to do what they've managed to do, and I think they've done it so well, and just given us. Not just with Matt, with Kingpin as well. They've given us something to latch on to and care about, and that was my biggest concern going into the show. That was the only reservation I had. I was very excited about the show. My only thing was, what are they going to do now? What's next? Because we had the show, and I think we have our answer, and I cannot wait to see the finale.
The thing for me is not only looking forward to the finale, we now have a template for MCU series going for, like, to me, I'm going, this is how you do it. Now, I liked She-Hulk. I get why people wouldn't. I liked what they did with it. It was fine.
This man.
Right? But listen, it was fine. But that's not the Daredevil I wanted. This is the Daredevil I wanted. So such a good course correction. But what I want to put to Joseph, because again, you've not been as strong. You've not been scathing about it. You've not been as strong, obviously, about this series. In terms of this episode, the thing that kind of stood out to me, other than the cinematography, again, there's just so many standouts: the performances, the cinematography, the story. Paul, you mentioned it again, the tension that this episode builds towards where we get to the climax. Like, there was jump cuts, the use of aspect ratio, all that kind of stuff. But to me, what about the was there anything that stood, or did you find it tense at all watching this episode? Obviously, first I'm just assuming because it made me feel tense. But was there anything in terms of that kind of stood out for you, Joseph?
Yeah, it felt genuinely. It felt like the tension from the first season of the Netflix show was back, because we were seeing the bad stuff unfolding throughout the episode. It wasn't just like, haha, everything's great, look at us, bang, Foggy's dead. Like, there's, it's like there's that whole Hitchcock quote about a bomb can't just go off, you need to see it under the table first. And this entire episode was showing the bomb under the table. And even like some bombs have not exploded yet, which they're still ticking. Something's going to happen. Like that whole the scene between the police chief and BB. What a tense scene, because there's crooked cops all around this building, all around this room, and he's just come out of that scenario where he has had no power. That man who is supposed to have the highest status of any serving police officer in that room has been brought down to status level 0 within the scene by Fisk, by all like the tension is raising, and it's really making me feel like there's heart and genuine care behind the show now. And it made me feel like this is the most their characters that they have been, because it's kind of felt like some of the characters have been like neutered versions of themselves.
Tell me this guy hasn't fucking come round on this show. This guy is fucking loving this show. He's just doing
this is what I wanted. I'm not going to say this is the best show because all of the episodes need to contribute to that, and I think there's episodes that haven't contributed to it, in my opinion. But
do you know the thing that would make me disagree with that is because it is such a rewrite mismatch where I'm going, but it's still coherent and they've done so I'm giving it some leniency, but it's still great. But I get what you mean.
I'm giving it leniency, but I will say I do want to not walk back a point I made on a previous episode, but I want to add a caveat to something. So we said earlier that I wasn't a fan of Foggy being killed off immediately. Okay. I'm still not a fan of the character dying, but I think what could have made that land more for me is if we had seen. I don't think it should have happened immediately in the episode. I think it should have happened like early on, to close to midway through, and we see scenes of Karen and Foggy and Matt doing good. And
that
like,
could have been the end of the episode 1. I kind of agree with Joseph. That could have been maybe the cliffhanger of episode 1. I think,
or something. I think having that could have, because it was like, what was it? Nelson Murdoch and Paige are back together. No, they're fucking not. One of them's dead. We didn't get time as an audience to sit with that and enjoy that for the characters. I know, Andrew, you don't give a fuck about Karen. But like I think for just that a bit more narrative weight of that death. I would have liked a bit more of them.
The reason I disagree with that is because of where we are now. I don't need to. I've seen Happy Karen and I've seen Sad Karen and Sad Fog. You know, I've seen all that. I've rewatched the episode again. If you've not rewatched it, fair enough. But I've seen that over 3 seasons. You're starting something new. You're starting something fresh. That was a gut punch. That was a fucking hell. Like, what are we doing? Where are we going? The one thing I would say in terms of the death of Foggy is because it's ultimately led us to where we are, and like, to me, throughout this episode, I believe the tension built up because of your two big characters, your Fisk and your Matt Murdoch, right? When Matt Murdoch folds his fucking blind stick, I literally grip the side of whatever I'm sitting on.
Yeah.
Going, what's going on? And it was to dance with Vanessa, but even then I'm like, and then Fisk starts speaking to him. He's talking to the swordsman, and as you say, belittles the chief police in it. But then you've got BB flirting with Gandolfini, but then going, I don't like these pricks. I'm trying, and I'm like, who's with who? What's happening? That prick's just put that guy's hand in the deep fat fryer. It's all going on.
I was going to say the secret police Novocaine, the journalist.
It
feels
like
cutting
and cutting, and it just built and built. And you've got the whole sense of talking about Bullseye, not seeing him. Then you see, like, the other thing as well. That character, his tooth to spit in his eye, to then just get out and start like, Bullseye is such a good villain.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, I don't even think he properly used it to my knowledge, but he has used it to kill someone. For me, one of the best moments in this episode is where he's broken out and he walks into the ball
bus,
and he just picks up the fork.
Yeah.
It's like, because you're like, that in his hands is going to, because this is how they've set him up. Just this, he's killed somebody already with his tooth, so just holding a fork. Yeah. You're like, how many is he getting? And then the next scene you see him, he's holding a sniper rifle, and you're like, the guy that doesn't miss.
Yeah.
See, and even
with a firearm.
What I thought was brilliant, they could have easily just had that whole sequence happen, and he's on a balcony with a sniper rifle, but they took time to show us early on in the ball that there's a man standing on a balcony with a gun. That character might as well be called fucking Chekhov.
Yeah.
For all we care. Beautiful.
But even the pacing of this episode as well. So as I say, you've got all this stuff happening and it's all building up and building up. But even the point, so this is where you get like the aspect ratio of him listening in and stuff, and you see him cock the gun, hit the bolt, because I think it's a bolt action rifle, hit the bolt in and stuff, and you're just waiting and waiting and waiting, and then obviously Matt jumps in front of the bullet, so where that leads to in the next episode, we don't know. But to me, this was masterful television. This is some of the best content that I've seen superhero-wise, and it's like, for us to be, because we were so excited about this, and it was the hope of, oh, please be as good as the Netflix stuff, because the Netflix stuff was sensational. I am so over they've went above and beyond what I thought they could have done. And to me now, going into this finale, I'm like, I want more. And this is the first. Is this the first? Maybe other than Loki, might be the first MCU series where I've went, I cannot fucking wait for season 2.
Yeah,
like
fair enough.
I'm in the same boat, but with the caveat that I went into this actively wanting to hate it.
Paul, I don't like that. No, I don't like that.
I'd heard of it. I just knew, like, blame it on Disney, man. I don't know what to say. They've the one that screwed the pooch, you know, with this so many times with beloved franchises and characters.
Yeah.
I almost expected, to be honest, for Foggy to die and then Foggy for Matt to have a new best friend.
Yeah.
Like something like that. But instead, he's wallowing and miring in this mental anguish. We've even seen him, like, what was it? It might have been episode 7 or something. He had like a little thing of Foggy's or something he was looking at.
The funeral thing.
Funeral thing,
yeah. You know, we're sitting in that grief with him, and it's making him more of a person, and it makes it very watchable, and it's so refreshing.
Yeah.
And so for me personally, I've gone from like, oh, here we go, Disney again, let's see how you're gonna ruin yet another thing I liked, and all of a sudden I'm like, I guess for once I'm eating my words.
Like, this is, and I'm not even saying this
great.
as a joke or a jibe, but I'm going, see the fact that Paul likes this. Like, to me, I'm just like, that's what they've done, which surprised me, obviously, that Joseph didn't. I feel as if Joseph is kind of...
No, every time we finish recording an episode, I'd get off and look at myself in the mirror, being like, what's going on? Like who am I? Am I a bit now? Am I, like, yeah. I didn't know if I had to pull the cowl off and be like, who the fuck am I? What's...
Is there anything else that we've maybe not touched on that you guys want to bring up before we wrap things up?
Oh, the moment of Vanessa and Fisk.
Yeah.
He takes her into his little den of iniquity.
We called it.
Hell yeah. There was a slight change though. My prediction was that he was going to just like murder him in front of her and she would fall in love again. She was the one that shot him, and that is the person I remembered that got shot in the head. And then I love the little scene. I love the little scene of them standing together. I can't remember if they might be holding hands, but then we're talking about aspect ratios. It zooms in, and his little dead eyes are just looking at those two falling in love again.
It was just, it's real romantic. You know, that's every girl's dream, is just to have
kill a man that she slept with in front of her husband.
To kill a man that you've slept with in front of women.
Where's that Hugh Grant and Colin Firth movie? All right?
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if it was Hugh Grant playing Kingpin? Oh, Vanessa, I can't. You know, I've beaten this man. I've not killed him yet.
To kill a fucking bird.
What would you?
I would want Hugh Grant though from The Gentleman. Go, please, Vanessa, please. Bang.
Oh no!
But yeah, again, like to me, like even the stuff that was kind of going on through the middle, I feel as if where they've turned it to with Vanessa and Kingpin, I'm so in on that. And going into next week's episode, normally we do predictions. I don't want to do predictions. I don't want to go in with expectation. I don't want to go in with guessing what's going to happen. I am just so excited to see there's every character. I want to see what's going to happen with Bullseye, Fisk and Vanessa, Daredevil, BB. I'm interested in BB Christ. My only one prediction, I don't know if we've said this yet, but I'm adamant now. Gandolfini is Fisk's son.
You think?
No,
100%.
No, I don't think so.
Like from
I think
from
it's a surrogate. I think it's a surrogate son type thing. Like he thinks of him as his dad.
No, I think he's actual daddy.
But
interesting.
Yeah.
No,
why do you think that?
I don't think so.
Why do I think that?
Mm-hmm.
Look, size, and the fact that he's so fucking inept at his job, but still somehow he's getting promoted. But even the tension between the woman going, I don't think he's. Why are we promoting this guy? Like, why are we doing? And again, I could be wrong, but to me, I feel as if he's going to be Fisk's son from like a previous relationship that he's just found out about, and he's now trying to kind of bring him into like the family business
and that
the business.
That's maybe the new twist in the Vanessa Fisk relationship.
Could be.
You have a son I didn't know about.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just some stuff I've seen online and stuff. But yeah, this to me is like the bit. I think this is the best episode of Daredevil so far.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Actually. I'm going to look it up just now and see what it is IMDb wise in terms of ratings
so
and stuff.
After talking about it, I know I'm the one who's kind of held out and said 6 is the best. After talking about it, I think they're on par with each other. But I don't. I
love
think
that he still does it. He's like they're on level.
Boys, can you smell something? Can you smell something a wee bit?
Oh, don't you dare try and turn this around on me!
Oh,
how dare you!
Oh, I smell something smelly.
So honestly, it's like at the school playground all over again. As soon as you see an opening, try and turn the attention on somebody else.
So all I will say is episode 6 is sitting at an 8.8 and episode 8 is sitting at a 9.2 on IMDb. So it is close though, but like yeah, to me
it is close.
It's utterly fantastic. Even like episode 7's an 8.1, which again, to me it's somewhat forgettable in the grand scheme of things, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's bad by any means. Do you know what I mean?
Still had memorable moments, like the
exactly.
bit at the end where he's having
and I
dinner
think
and whatnot.
I think as an overall, it doesn't take anything away from the series. You get nice wee moments. So episode 7 again, I would give it a solid like 6, 7 out of 10. But I'm 10 for episode 8, and I again now trying to keep my negative hat off. We know Marvel are bad at landing. That's all I'm
However, Andrew, Marvel are technically worse at penultimate episodes, and this was fucking brilliant.
True.
And actually was a true penultimate episode where it sets up the finale. So, like, honestly, yeah, as I say, I'm now way more hopeful about the finale based on what they've done here, because this is definitely what it should be, a 2-part situation. I want to see how this ends.
That's right, isn't it? Because there's been a lot of times where we've kind of approached a finale where it's like, where is this going? Like, what's it? And then it just does essentially a penultimate and a finale in one episode.
So quick fire question.
Often feeling rushed.
Quick fire question just to end it. With this being the end, we know we're getting season 2, and we know this is originally supposed to be one big season. Is this like ultimate cliffhanger, or do you think we get somewhat resolved and we start afresh going into season 2?
I think it's not going to be resolved until because we know there's a second season coming. I think this is going to be like a something's going to be resolved in the case of what's happening between Vanessa and Daredevil.
Yeah.
But I reckon
we never actually spoke about that. Yeah, the fact that he think it probably
it's
more than likely it was her that got.
Yeah.
That was a great reveal as well. The way he was figuring it out. Yeah.
as soon as he says it to her as well, I really like. She just tries to bolt off the dance floor to grabs her back.
No.
It's like it was really it added to the tension. It was really good.
Fucking great episode of
yeah.
television, man. Stick
It was good.
Severance
It was
up your
very
arse.
good.
Give me
Very
Daredevil,
good.
man. Fucking yes.
I think there's an argument for both, because obviously, if from the writing standpoint, obviously you've got the fact that they've come in now, and there's an argument that if I was the writer, would I be going, right? Let's just do our best with these final 2 episodes, and then let's do our thing from now on. But Joseph has a good point. Like, do you also maybe set up what you're wanting to do via these episodes? Like, this essentially is like a kind of soft reboot. These two, episode 8 and 9, are kind of like a soft reboot and go again for season 2.
See,
so yeah, don't know.
My opinion with those sort of things is if you know you've already got that scope for going in the second season, if you already know you've got that greenlit, I think you should be planning for that.
Yeah.
Unless you've already got like a pre-established arc for that season. They've, they have quite frankly managed to make a silk purse out of a pig's ear. I think with this, with like the original writing, and it makes me hopeful that they are going to stick the landing, because I think arguably next to Spider-Man, at least in like the modern sort of view of the MCU and all the characters, I think Daredevil might be up there with most popular.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Especially with
after this,
the
especially
fans'
now.
reception. Yeah. And I just I don't want it to be shit, because I want that I want everyone's hard work to pay off. But I want it to be earned as well. I don't want it to just be more Marvel slop. I want them see what they're doing with the cinematography. It's like, yes, make art from this show. Make art.
But I have no worries about that because of what we've done, and we know that these are the same directors coming back. So all we can do is sit and hope. And if we can be as positive and glowing about episode 9, my God, if we had a fucking great series of television. But that's going to be all for us this week. Let us know in the comments, what do you think? Are you loving Daredevil as much as us? Were you like Joseph, where you were just a wee crab at poo-poo man, and now he's kind of lightening up going, yeah, you know what, fucking Daredevil, baby. Let us know in the comment section. We want to know your thoughts on what you are thinking so far of this series. What are your predictions for episode 9? Are you looking forward to seeing John Bernthal? Are you looking forward, are we going to get a team up with all the vigilantes? Because I think we're going to see a lot more of the police vigilante squad. So yeah, let us know all your predictions. Let us know what you thought of this week's episode. Let us know all that good stuff. If you want to follow along, we are at WithMatesPod on all social media platforms. Do me a favour, hit subscribe on YouTube and hit subscribe on Apple and Spotify. Help us get as many followers as possible. Join in the conversation if you're enjoying this. Comment on Facebook, comment on Instagram. Help us get this algorithm in our favour. Get more people seeing us, get more people watching our stuff and listening to our stuff. Joseph, where can the people find you and all that you do?
The lovely people can find me in the flesh flavoured deep fat fryer. That is my social media pages at Joseph Boone, Joseph with an F, on both Instagram and Twitter.
Polly Smack.
Find me at the spat out bloody weaponized tooth that is my Instagram account at Stirret Story.
Big Andrew Mooney.
And you can find me on all social media platforms. It's at Craig Andrew Mooney.
And if you want to follow me, I'm at Andalf the Grey. But I don't want your follow. Do not follow me. Follow the podcast at WithMatesPod. All social media channels, but most importantly, follow us on YouTube. Listen to us on Apple and Spotify. Get involved. It really helps us out. Even just give us a thumbs up. Give us a wee hello. Whatever you can in the comments, because it really does help the algorithm. And it helps more people see our stuff, because we think we're good. Let us know. Do you think we're good? If you think we're shit, let us know. Either way, comment so that other people know. Yes, Craig, good boy, hands up.
I just wanted to volunteer my followers tribute as well. Please also, on my behalf, follow the podcast too.
Yeah, and do you know what? See if you follow Craig now, unfollow Craig, and then go follow the With Mates podcast. He doesn't want to follow.
Transfer that follow to the With Mates podcast.
But that's all
absolutely
for
fine.
That is all for this week. We will be back next week, of course, for the finale, and there are lots and lots of beautiful movies coming out. One specifically I'm very pleased about, Sinners, getting lovely reviews, but also I fucking can't wait to see this film. So we'll be talking about Sinner, Last of Us starts next week as well, so we'll probably try and organise when we're going to talk about that. Whether it be, we will either be doing episode 1 or possibly wait until I get home from Lincoln and do episodes 1 and 2. Andor is also starting 21st. We still need to figure out how we're going to do that because it drops 3 episodes every week for 4 weeks. So we'll probably just do like halfway through and then we'll figure that out. But yeah, lots of coming to the podcast, so keep your eyes and ears peeled on social media for all that good stuff. But thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope to see you next time. Latest on that, Menji.
Excuse me, pal. Would you like salt and vinegar on your human hand, pal?
That's better than what I was going to do.